Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone. All right, who rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim, all right, that are out there on the highways and byways, pushing the truth across the four corners of the earth. All right, trying to make it the remaining hopeful elect. All right, I like to mention also that, hey, if you're paying attention to the real news, as much as real as it can be, you know that these are very unstable times, and these prophecies, man, they're right in your face. I mean, unless you're deaf, dumb, and blind, you know, it's to that point where, yeah, you can't see what's going on here. But in any case, this video here is going to have to do with, hey, America. What it keeps doing to our people, and why we tell you this place was never meant for us, and it never will be. This is a story here that this young lady, she figured out that, well, when it comes to taxes, they're unevenly applied, all right, and it's racism even in that. Oh boy. So we're going to go ahead and roll the video and let them set this up for you. This is, again, the more the more this country goes on, the more we continue to be proved right. And this, you know, this is not us per se, so we're not going to, you know, no way take the full credit for us, because, you know, the Holy Spirit has allowed us to see these things. All right, that's just what it is. And more and more, all this information is coming out about how they really have screwed us over. When you thought you heard it all, some more shit comes out. All right, so here we go.
Dorothy Brown says she got into tax law because she didn't want to deal with race at work. She's a black woman academic from the South Bronx. She says she faced racism every day of her life. So when it came to choosing a career, she went with math, because numbers. I mean, with numbers, there's no way that something that's as straightforward and numerical as the tax system could deal with.
You would think, yeah, right, numbers. All right, straightforward. Math, the truth from a moth. All right, so Slocky. So here she is. But then that's the curses again. There's nowhere. That's what is it? Deuteronomy 28 and 65. Thy foot shall know no rest. Let's get that. When you think there's something that's going to be to your advantage, again, you can't escape these curses. More proof that this applies to us. I think it's 65. Yeah, here it is. Let's see. Let me read into it. Oh, no, I can go straight there. This is Deuteronomy 28:65. And among these nations where we were scattered, that's the previous chapter, verse 64. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease. What does that mean? We bring up scriptures like Micah 2 and 10. All right, Hebrews 11th chapter, Hebrews 13th chapter. You know, 11th chapter there, 14 and 15. If we were able to see the future from the time we were in our own homeland, you know, then there's no way, but you realize we didn't have no control over this. We were set up, as it goes into Romans, all right, the 7th and 8th chapter, where, you know, specifically in the 8th chapter, you know, this is how things had to be, all right. But now we're in this grace period, so this is the time to get yourself right, you know. Well, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. So it says, among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Most High Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. That's sorrow of mind. Everywhere you turn, as the scriptures and the curses say here. No, you're not going to find any ease. You're not going to find any relief. You might get a brief respite. Oh boy, that's somebody else. Here you go. You know, that's just the way it is. All right.
Something that's as straightforward and numerical as the tax system could deal with race, right? Well, Dorothy Brown says, quote, "I've never been so wrong about something in my life." After getting her law degree and then her master's in tax law, Brown was helping her parents with their taxes when she noticed something odd. Now, they were married, but they didn't seem to benefit from the tax breaks that one should expect to see from a married couple. Dorothy Brown dug in and quickly discovered that the IRS does not collect or publish data for race the same way they do for gender or for age. So that caused Brown to begin to dig deeper and deeper. She says she became a detective, looking at the history of different tax laws. She looked at who benefits from most tax breaks and loopholes and who doesn't. Take her parents' marriage examples. Now, marriage tax cuts only benefit single-wage earner households or couples where one worker makes significantly more than the other. So, for example, a household where both spouses work and make similar incomes, they're not going to get the tax cut. And, as it turns out, households with equal earners that have two full-time workers, they're more likely to be black. And then, by contrast, household where there is a single wage earner, where one spouse can afford to stay home and not work, those are significantly more likely to be white. Now,
see how slick this devil is? Now, we often bring up the subject of the good old days, where America really reached its peak, its height. All right, in the 50s, where you had the dad could work, the mother could stay at home, watch the kids. And then here comes feminism and all that bullshit, which actually hurt our people more. All right, so if the father wasn't, driven out the home, which would eventually happen, let's say, all right, now where you have the so-called white, the Edomite households, all right, you got to understand, for the most part, what's happening. I mean, the curses are catching up with them now, but it was designed to where they could benefit. Our people had to struggle. Now she just discovered that, well, it's supposed to be better when you have dual incomes, but they've engineered it so it would profit the Edomite, the so-called white man, better. All right, so still, I mean, this shit is so fucked up, man. That's why I always bring this book here, because, all right, it says how white folks got so rich. All right, and yes, I mean, it goes over all of it. Okay, you got here the black tax. I mean, they got all areas where they got us, because our people unfortunately don't understand slavery in its totality. They think in old school. They're not understanding that this man switched up. He's coming at it at us from all angles. Just look at the legend here. Let's get the contents. You can read. I'm on. All right. Hopefully that's get a little closer there. I'm trying to get the whole thing there in the view. All right, if you can read it. Let's start at the top. Indian land grab. Head writes the greatest land giveaway to whites. Jefferson's curse. Slavery, the most profitable business of all time. Everybody's still profiting off of us, except us. Sugar to cotton to oil. Whites gotta have it. Jim Crow laws, more money. New slavery, sharecropping, predatory lending, and debt slavery. Religious racism, the so-called curse of Ham, which we're not Hamites, we never were. Labor unions, white domestic terrorism, Compromise of 1877, Asian Exclusion Acts, citizen and immigration for whites only. Remember, the turn of the, well, right before the turn of the last century, circa 1900s on in the, the teens, all this vast influx of European immigrants. All right. Is it any wonder that they, also profited? Plessy versus Ferguson, separate but not equal. President of white supremacy, Woodrow Wilson, that piece of shit. Public education, the fourth R, racism. Student debt, slavery for black people, wealth for Wall Street and government. The stock market, subprime mortgages, whites' massive 3-card Monty, and that's exactly what it is. Sundown towns, Homestead Act. You see so far all this, and they have the nerve to talk about, well, why should we pay for slavery? No one's around since. Well, look what all I just read so far, and I'm still on page 1. All right, Farmers Home Administration for whites only. Still dealing with that. There's Jake from down here in Virginia. What is his name? You always see him. He always has a black cowboy hat. But he started up this. Oh man, what is it? And all these farmers that sued the government because you realize how much land you're talking, like from the, let's just say the 1920s, 1930s, that Jake had, and the land was stolen. Either because, it can go further back than that, but I'm just using this as an example, those years that the land was stolen from. And of course, land, what? You can accumulate wealth. You can, so as in one, I'm going to read that. As a matter of fact, let me see. I thought I had it marked. Wait a minute. Thought I had it dog-eared here. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and read it. It says, and this is in this section, let's see, the prophets. Wait a minute, I'm trying to get the heading here. Hold on. So if you get the book, it's called Black Consumer Slaves, Forced Consumerism and Economic Dependency, and that's what they wanted. And that's what they got, big time. All right. Let's see where I start. Page 93 here at the top. It says, when most blacks emerged from slavery, it frightened the hell out of white people. They knew that money and knowledge in black hands meant that black people would have the power to determine their own destiny apart from white domination and control. The first impulse blacks had after slavery was to get as far away from whites as possible. And that's true. Like, duh. They even set up over 60 all-black towns, which they managed free of white authority. Now, some asshole is probably going to bring up the fact, and this did happen, that a lot of the slaves, can't give you a number, but returned to certain plantations. Well, you have to understand that's all they knew. They were just let out there, out to pasture, so to speak, with nothing to look forward to. So they fell back, didn't mean they necessarily, that was their heart's desire, but what else are you going to do, especially if you had a family? That's very frightening. That's just like letting someone out of prison that's been in prison for, I'll give you a good example. If you ever seen the movie, what was the one? Oh, man. Oh. This always happens to me. Let me see. Oh, man. Let's see. Let's do this. I can't believe I forgot this. And before I probably get to it, it's going to pop in my head what I'm looking for. It's a good movie. Let's see. I want to get his filmography. Scroll on down here. Let's see. Here it is. Let's see. They missed. They missed one because I first remember. I know he was with the electric company, but that's another whole subject. But they don't. Here it is, the Shawshank Redemption. All right, they don't have him listed here for Brubaker. That's strange. Wow. Okay, the electric company, yeah. That's weird. Wow. Anyway, let's go back to that's what I was looking for, the Shawshank Redemption. I couldn't remember that for the life of me. All right, there's uh, oh man. Anyway, continuing on, it'll come back to me. But it says they even set up over 60 all-black towns, which they managed free of white authority. So, despite what you allow yourself to believe, we did all right by ourselves. This trend had to be stopped because with black independence came the total loss of the black labor upon which whites depended. Now you know why they sacked all those towns that we built. Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Greenwood District. Chicago, what happened up there? Rosewood, and so many others. You have so many towns that were, that lakes, all right, they were drowned out, that now, they're at the bottom of lakes. Say, for instance, the state of Georgia, you have several. Up in New York, was it Seneca Village? And that was overtaken to build you Central Park up there. And there are so many others that go all the way out west to California, all right? So we were never meant to be free here. So fuck these people that try to bring up this bullshit. That's why I always carry this book, because I want to give them page, all right? Because not that it'll do any good, because you're dealing with people that have this, what would they call it? Cognitive dissonance, all right? They're just going to go la, 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 because they can't deal with the truth, all right? It says, so there were specific provisions in the Jim Crow laws and customs that gave whites the right to just take money away from black people at will. So when we bring up the thing about, it's not just about slavery. It's everything, it's including that, but everything that happened after that up until this very day. But we know we're not going to get it, because who are we dealing with? A piece of shit. These people, these Edomites, so-called, who like to refer to themselves as white, which they're not, they're red, all right? They were set up to be the wicked, and that's exactly who and what they are, all right? So don't expect, I always refer to, yes, Psalms 43 and 1. Let's get it real quick. 43 and 1, King David. He said, judge me, O Most High, and plead my cause against an ungodly nation, or deliver me from the deceitful and unjust man. What do you need? Let's see, deceitful. He's nothing but full of lies, all right, in the sense of deceiving, fraud, craft, deceit, false, feigned, guile, subtlety, treachery. This is who we're dealing with. For what we did, this is our punishment, to turn us over and give us into the hands of the most base pieces of shit there are on this earth, the so-called white man. And we deserved it. We totally deserved it. All right? And he's unjust. All right? In fact, I brought this out on my last one. This is Jeremiah, let's see, 50, hold on. Let's start at the top. Judgment on Babylon for what they've done. This is Babylon. It says, my people have been lost sheep. It says, my people. It's not talking about everybody on the planet. Their shepherds, their leaders have caused them to go astray. True, even to this day. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. You have to factor in these low-life piece of shit preachers that were set up by our enemy, all right, that are keeping you ignorant, all right, and that was done on purpose, all right. All that found them have devoured them, and yes, like I said, we are prey, P-R-E-Y, we are prey, constant prey, all right, and their adversary said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Most High, whose name is Yahweh, by the way. That's what that Lord in all caps, that's what it is. Don't believe me? Let's go down here. 15:7, you got Lord here. Strong's H3068, Yahweh, Yahweh. All right, self-existent or eternal. All right, there you go. That's the Most High. Again, all that found them have devoured them. And their adversaries said, we offend not, because they have sinned against the Most High. They know who we are. They know who we are. They always have. That's why we were targeted as a people. They didn't go grab up just any so-called African. They went to a specific part of that continent, the West Coast, where we had settled. When you read the history of 78 AD, all right, the fall of Jerusalem, the sacking of Jerusalem by the Romans, we were scattered everywhere, but the bulk of us went over into the west coast of Africa, any way we could get there. That's why they did what they did. These people have known who we were from the very beginning. That's why they converted to Judaism, so they could run that game. All right, so more and more as this goes on, what we're telling you is being more and more proven true. And this is the Most High's plan. This is his, the way he's running this. All right? But it's a beautiful thing. And now these people are on the move because they're running scared. The gig is up. All right? The truth is out. And everybody's figuring, what was it? What is his name from Syria? Oh, man. Is it Assad? He came out and said, same thing we've been saying. President of Egypt from 1950s. He passed away in 1970. Gamal Abdel Nasser told you on a broadcast. He said these people, they're not the Israelites. They're not the Jews. He said the Jews left here black and now they come back white. That's bullshit. Well, this is nothing more than a criminal cabal. All right, because they said, I believe that term, because the word doesn't exist, I believe that term was invented in the mid-1800s, around 1860 or therefore. I may be off by a few years. Semite, anti-Semitic. There's no such word. All right. The habitation of justice, even the Most High Yahweh, the hope of their fathers. All right. So, yeah, we deserve everything that we have gotten. All right. But the thing is, now it's coming to an end, and they know, their time is short, as the scriptures say in Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Continuing on.
Those are significantly more likely to be white. Now, through arduous study and research, Brown uncovered a long list of ways that both tax law and the many other systems that impact wealth generation tend to favor white Americans and also disadvantage black Americans. In her book, The Whiteness of Wealth, How the Tax System Impoverishes Black Americans and How We Can Fix It, was published in 2021. Since then, Brown has been appointed to the Treasury Advisory Committee on Racial Equity under Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. Brown and her other committee co-members have made recommendations on how to address racial equity matters within the tax code. She recently said in an interview with NPR that despite the board's work and recommendations, quote, "we have not seen much progress at all." Joining me now is Dorothy Brown, professor of law at Georgetown University and member on the advisory committee on racial equity at the Department of the Treasury. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Dorothy, you said in an interview with NPR's Marketplace recently that you haven't seen a whole lot of interest in just this conversation about centering race and racial equity within the Treasury. Why?
Before she gets to talking, it just came to me while I thought about Shawshank Redemption. There's a scene in there, in that movie, where this Edomite, he appeared to be anyway. Reload. Hold on. I gotta pull it up again. Let's see. Shawshank Redemption. It's a good movie. All right, 1994. There you go. There's a scene where the old man, he went in prison early 1900s, around 1905, something like that. The Wright brothers had just, not the Wright, did what they did. It was the Wright brothers. And he had been in prison for just over 50 years. Didn't know anything else. He loved working in the library. He didn't want to leave. That's how institutionalized he was. And I akin this to our people when I made that comment about them just being let out, go, get the fuck out, and the ones that, well, we don't, this is all we know. But this guy, here it is now where he left. When he went in, it was just horse and buggy. When he came out, had these cars, and life was just so much more fast paced. He couldn't handle it. He killed himself, hung himself, if I remember correctly. See, our people never had the chance to heal. And that's the prophecy too. That's the curses too. Let me go back to that. Because that same scripture says, we would have no rest, right? Let's get it again. Let's see, 65. See, let's see. Let's see. Here it is, 65 again. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Most High Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart. Every time you see a police car, you're driving, you get that looking in the rearview mirror on these motherfuckers, because at any moment, that stop could be the last. All right, and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. All right, that's a curse. Continuing on.
Why do you think that is?
Because Treasury doesn't see racial equity as something that they should be focusing on. They haven't historically. They give lip service to it under Secretary Yellen. But when the Treasury Advisory Committee makes recommendations like you should really have a path forward on collecting data by race, because you shouldn't depend on an academic like Dorothy Brown to uncover the racial biases in our tax code. There's a Stanford study that came out last year that showed if you were Black and you filed for the Earned Income Tax Credit, you were 3 to 5 times more likely to be audited than if you were non-Black. That needs to be fleshed out. The Treasury should be at the forefront of this. We made the recommendation in March of last year, and we have seen very little progress. Data is critical. The IRS and Treasury publish a lot of data about a lot of things, but not about race. And I'm very disappointed in Secretary Yellen not moving our recommendations forward faster.
This is such an important conversation because there are so many of us within our community, within Black America, who feel like there are things systemically that hold us back or that are pressing on us in different ways, but we can't prove it. We can't point to it. So when you bring up the notion of data, I just want to underscore how valuable and imperative that is. Dorothy, you're a friend to Velshi and the show, and you spoke to Ali about 3 years ago, and you said that one of the things that was most important there was for the IRS to collect collect and to publish data on race the same way they do with age and gender. And President Biden's racial equity order back in 2021 that actually affirmed that. From a policy place, what do you think has to happen in order to bring that into a reality? Is the pressure to be applied in the Treasury? Is it to be applied to legislatures? Is it a combination of both? Or do you think it's in the courts where this needs to be fought?
No, it's very simple. The White House needs to pick up the phone and tell Treasury Secretary Yellen they meant what they said in the racial equity order, and they expect progress on the Treasury Advisory Committee's recommendations forthwith. It's not complicated. We have a path forward. We recommended how to get it done, and the White House needs to step up and say, we meant it. We need disaggregated data by race in the Treasury and IRS. We have it at HUD. We have it at the Department of Labor. We know how many people.
Why they're not going to do it? Same reason they've never wanted it, because it's not in their best interest. This continued where I was. It says, if blacks, again, this is the book, how white folks got so rich. It says, page 93 again, it says, if blacks tried to save and invest their earnings, their money could and would be confiscated. One state decreed that having 1/8 or more of Negro blood was adequate cause to void contracts. Oh, man, this is, that part of it never changed. And it goes on to say laws invalidated Negro testimony, effectively made it impossible for blacks to use the court system to enforce any contract or agreement. A white man could walk into the home of a black family and take whatever he wanted, including their cotton or corn harvest, tools, and farm animals, along with the man's daughter and wife, and they had no legal recourse. Did they do any other people that were not native to the United States like that? No. I was thinking Moab, but you might could put them there. But they mostly were treated harshly as they were, and that's something I can never understand. Believe me, those people, not that I'm trying to get off topic, but have never forgotten, all right? And the United States just acts like, well, why do these people hate us? They play that, oh man, these people just got, it would be so much better, all right? And it will. Their day is coming, trust me. All right, but in the meantime, let's finish this out for time's sake.
Ride bicycles by race, but we don't know how taxpayers pay their taxes by race. It is a sin and a shame.
I'm glad you brought up those examples of other places in government that are already doing this, because what it does is that it eliminates the argument that, well, we don't ever do this. We never sort of look at these statistics. The fact that there are models that exist across other agencies is so critical for building a model that is consistent across all government agencies. Back in 2020,
I actually call it Treasury's exceptionalism. They are the outlier here.
Well, that's important to point out, and I'm glad you did. Back in 2020, there were a lot of folks from different communities, a lot of white Americans, for example, who had questions about how to show up, how to be allies. And right now, you've said that it's important for white Americans to engage with the subject of racism and wealth accumulation and racism in the tax system as well. You've mentioned that this sort of allyship is helpful and impactful for white Americans to be forthcoming about in terms of intergenerational wealth and about their experiences with wealth building. This is not done to shame anyone for what they've been able to achieve, but to help illuminate the issues around disparities. Can you talk about how critical this piece of allyship is for people who are invested in building greater equity?
It's very important because you may be sitting...
See, you have these jakes that keep talking about wanting to still build in this shithole. It's like we haven't gotten the message yet after all this time. All right. you have to be in a certain mindset at this point. And if you're not in that mindset, let's say, fuck this, we want this place out of here. We're tired of being prisoners. All right, I have to bring it up again. Let's go, because, oh man, our people are just gluttons for punishment. This is Isaiah 49, and let's see. 24. Shall the prey, which we are, be taken from the mighty, or the lawful captive delivered? That's the question. All right. But thus saith the Most High Yahweh, even the captives of the mighty shall be taken away, and the prey of the terrible shall be delivered. That's the answer. All right. For I will contend with him that contendeth with thee, and I will save thy children. In short, let's go back. And this is, again, these devils' greatest fear. And it's good, because it's going to happen, and there's nothing you can do to turn it away. This is the restoration of Jacob, or Israel. It says, for the Most High Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Now that strangers there is talking about Israelite foreigners. It's not talking about the heathen nations, all right? Because this is always, it always has been, and it is still for the nation of Israel only. And the people, verse 2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them. Who's the them? That's who we're talking about, all right? In the land of the Most High Yahweh for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. That's why those devils over there in the land of Israel talking about the black youth being such a threat. Because our people, enough of them are waking up, all right, to the bullshit. And that scares the hell out. So they got to move the timetable up here, all right? And that's what's going to happen. All right, so that, for the for the, large part, that's the point that's been made. This place was never, ever meant for our benefit, and it never will be. It has to go. All right, that's already written. All right, we're just riding this out. There's no, why would you want to? These people hate us, and this is biblical. This is that ancient hatred. All right, it's spiritual. All right, they can't help themselves. That's what they were created to be and created for. All right, so with that, I hope you all, once again, it is a sin and a shame exposing racism in the U.S. tax code. We can't get any relief anywhere. Everywhere you go, you just go in and go shop. You got motherfuckers shadowing you shit, and that's in here too. Is a section on that. I didn't even get through the first page with all the shit they fuck with us with. All right, good book to have. When I got it, it's been about a year and a month now. It was $10. I don't know what it is now because I haven't looked. But usually the books and stuff that we use, they go up in price. Because it's usually things that they didn't want you to know. All right, hey, so with that, until the next video, I hope once again that every one of you is edified. And for you people that didn't know this, well, now you know. For those of you that are, what's the expression, willfully ignorant, you just want to go along to get along, well, you're getting ready to get a very rude awakening, because this man's losing his shit. And we all know through history with this guy, you're getting ready to see what he's really about. I'm talking about the so-called white man. So with that, into the next video, shalom, shalom. And remember, prayer. Prayer is very important. Shalom, shalom.